Look carefully at the bird on your windowsill. The scales on its feet, the way it holds its arms, folded against its body like wings at rest, the predatory focus in its eye. You are looking at a dinosaur. Not a descendant of dinosaurs, not related to dinosaurs. A dinosaur. For more than a century, we got them wrong. We imagined dinosaurs as giant lizards, cold-blooded, scale-covered, lumbering through swamps. But in 1996, everything changed. In the Liaoning province of China, a fossil emerged from ancient volcanic ash. A small dinosaur, perfectly preserved. And covering its body, unmistakable, undeniable, were feathers. Not flight feathers, not even complex feathers, just simple, downy filaments. But they were there, and they shattered everything we thought we knew. Today, there are more than 10,000 species of birds on Earth. They dominate the skies, the forests, the oceans. They've colonized every continent, every climate. And every single one of them, from the tiny bee hummingbird to the towering ostrich, is a theropod dinosaur. A living member of the group that gave us Tyrannosaurus rex and Velociraptor. This is the story of the feathered line, the revolutionary discovery that blurred the boundary between monster and songbird forever. And it begins with a single fossil, found in a Bavarian quarry in 1861. In 1859, Charles Darwin published On the Origin of Species. His theory of evolution by natural selection made a bold claim. All species descend from common ancestors through gradual modification over vast spans of time. But Darwin faced a problem. Where were the transitional forms? The missing links that should connect different groups of animals? Critics pounced. "Show us," they demanded, "an animal halfway between a reptile and a bird." 2 years later, in the limestone quarries near Solnhofen, Germany, workers found exactly that. The Solnhofen limestone is extraordinary. Deposited at the bottom of a shallow tropical lagoon 150 million years ago, its fine silt preserved creatures in exquisite detail. Even soft tissues, feathers, skin, internal organs left impressions in the stone. And in 1861, they found a single feather, perfectly preserved, obviously from a bird. Then, later that same year, a complete skeleton. They named it Archaeopteryx, ancient wing. And it was impossible. It had wings, flight feathers, arranged exactly as in modern birds. But it also had teeth, sharp reptilian teeth lining its jaws, a long bony tail made of vertebrae, 3-fingered claws extending from its wings, no beak, no fused tailbones, none of the specialized features that modern birds use for flight. Thomas Henry Huxley, Darwin's staunchest defender, known as Darwin's bulldog, immediately recognized what this meant. "Here," he announced, "is your transitional form." An animal that was neither fully reptile nor fully bird. An animal caught in the act of becoming. And for the next 130 years, Archaeopteryx stood as the first known bird. The earliest evidence that dinosaurs had taken to the air. But it raised a haunting question. When the word dinosaur was coined in 1842 by the British anatomist Richard Owen, it came from Greek, dinos, meaning terrible, and sauros, meaning lizard. Terrible lizards. And for more than a century, that's how we understood them, as oversized reptiles. Cold-blooded, like modern lizards and snakes, their body temperature dictated by their environment, sluggish in cold weather, needing to bask in sunlight to warm up enough to move. Cold-bloodedness, or ectothermy to use the scientific term, has advantages. It's energy efficient. A lizard needs to eat far less than a mammal of the same size. It can survive weeks without food. But it comes with limitations. Ectotherms cannot sustain high activity levels. Their metabolism is too slow. They fatigue quickly. Most modern reptiles move in short bursts, ambush predators lying in wait, then a brief explosion of speed. And they cannot maintain constant body temperature. At night, they cool down. In winter, many become torpid. Their lives are governed by external heat. For decades, this was the accepted view of dinosaurs. Lumbering giants, moving slowly through warm Mesozoic swamps, occasionally snapping at prey that wandered too close. But in 1969, everything changed. John Ostrom was a paleontologist at Yale University when he described a fossil that would revolutionize our understanding of dinosaurs. He named it Deinonychus, terrible claw. A theropod dinosaur from the early Cretaceous, about 115 million years ago. And it was not a lumbering lizard. Deinonychus was built like an athlete, long legs indicating sustained running, a stiff tail held horizontal, perfect for balance during rapid movement, large eye sockets suggesting keen vision, and that terrible claw, a sickle-shaped talon on each hind foot designed to slash open prey. This was not an ambush hunter that relied on external heat. This was an active pursuit predator. Ostrom counted the anatomical similarities between Deinonychus and birds. Nearly 100 features they shared. The structure of the wrist bones, the furcula, the fused clavicles that in birds form the wishbone, the way the arms could fold against the body. Birds, Ostrom concluded, are not just related to dinosaurs. Birds are dinosaurs. Specifically, they are theropod dinosaurs, members of the group that includes Tyrannosaurus and Velociraptor. But if birds are dinosaurs, and birds are warm-blooded, were some dinosaurs warm-blooded too? Ostrom student Robert Bacher took the idea further. He argued strenuously that many dinosaurs, particularly theropods, had high metabolic rates, warm blood, active mammal-like lifestyles. He pointed to their upright posture. Only endothermic animals, mammals and birds, have legs positioned directly under their bodies. Sprawling reptilian limbs cannot support sustained running. He analyzed predator-prey ratios in fossil beds. Endothermic predators need more food, so they're rarer relative to their prey. The ratios he found matched mammalian ecosystems, not reptilian ones. He examined bone structure. Dinosaur bones show haversian canals, features associated with rapid growth and active lifestyles, common in mammals but rare in reptiles. The evidence mounted, and it pointed to a conclusion that seemed radical at the time, but is now widely accepted. Many theropod dinosaurs, perhaps most of them, had elevated metabolic rates, somewhere between modern reptiles and modern birds. Not cold-blooded, not quite as hot-blooded as mammals, something in between, something we now call mesothermy. But the definitive proof, the evidence that would make the dinosaur-bird connection undeniable, was still buried in Chinese volcanic ash, waiting to be found. In the mid-1990s, in Liaoning province in northeastern China, farmers were discovering something extraordinary. The Yixian Formation is a Lagerstätte, a deposit of remarkable fossil preservation. Volcanic eruptions had buried entire ecosystems instantly, preserving not just bones, but soft tissues, skin, muscles, internal organs, and feathers. In 1996, Ji Chang and Ji Shu An described Sinosauropteryx, Chinese lizard wing, a small theropod dinosaur, roughly the size of a chicken, and covering its body, clearly visible in the fossil, were filamentous structures. Simple, hair-like projections, not scales, not fur, proto-feathers. The discovery, wrote paleontologist Philip Currie, was the most important fossil bird find of the 20th century, even though it wasn't a bird. Because Sinosauropteryx wasn't a bird. It wasn't even particularly close to birds on the evolutionary tree. It was a coelurosaur, a member of the diverse theropod group that includes Tyrannosaurs, Velociraptors, and yes, eventually, birds. Which meant something profound. Feathers didn't evolve for flight. They evolved long before flight, in flightless dinosaurs. The discoveries accelerated. Caudipteryx, tail feather. Protarchaeopteryx, before ancient wing. Microraptor, tiny thief. Sinornithosaurus, Chinese bird lizard. By 2000, paleontologists had found dozens of species of feathered dinosaurs, and they revealed the evolution of feathers in stages. Feathers are complex structures. In modern birds, a flight feather consists of a central shaft, the rachis, from which hundreds of barbs branch. Each barb has hundreds of tiny barbules, and each barbule has microscopic hooks that zip the barbs together, creating a single aerodynamic surface. It's engineering of extraordinary sophistication. But it didn't appear all at once. Stage 1. Simple filaments. Hair-like projections of keratin, the same protein that makes human hair and reptile scales. These are the protofeathers found on Sinosauropteryx and other early coelurosaurs. Function? Almost certainly insulation. Young birds today have downy feathers before they grow flight feathers. The same principle. Trap body heat, maintain temperature. Stage 2. Branching filaments. The central filament sprouts side branches. More surface area, better insulation. Found in slightly more derived dinosaurs like Piaosaurus. Stage 3. True feathers with a central shaft and barbs. But the barbs don't zip together, they're still loose. Found in animals like Caudipteryx, which had symmetrical, non-flight-capable feathers on its short arms. Function? Probably display. Caudipteryx had fan-like tail feathers, perfectly suited for showing off to potential mates. Stage 4. Asymmetric flight feathers. The barbs zip together, creating a closed vein. The shaft is offset, making the feather asymmetric, essential for generating lift during flight. Found in Microraptor, Anchiornis, and, crucially, Archaeopteryx. What this progression reveals is profound. Flight wasn't the goal. Natural selection didn't know flight was coming. It couldn't. Feathers evolved for warmth. Then they were co-opted for display, sexual selection favoring males with showier plumage. Only later, once the basic structure existed, did they enable gliding and eventually powered flight. This is how evolution always works. Structures evolve for one purpose, then get repurposed for something entirely different. Our middle ear bones? Originally part of the reptilian jaw. Whale flippers? Originally mammalian legs. Bird wings? Originally dinosaur insulation. Nothing in biology makes sense, Darwin said. except in the light of evolution. The feathered dinosaurs prove him right. But if feathers evolved in flightless dinosaurs for insulation and display, that tells us something crucial about their metabolism. Cold-blooded animals don't need insulation. In fact, insulation would be counterproductive. A lizard's strategy is to absorb heat from its environment. Covering its body in feathers or fur would block that heat transfer. Only endothermic animals, animals that generate their own metabolic heat, benefit from insulation. The presence of feathers on early coelurosaurs, animals that definitely could not fly, is strong evidence that these dinosaurs were generating significant body heat. They were mesothermic at minimum, perhaps even fully endothermic. In 2012, researchers tested fossil feathers from Shavua, a small Cretaceous theropod, for beta-keratin, the protein unique to bird feathers. The immunological tests came back positive. Dinosaur feathers and bird feathers are made of the same stuff, because bird feathers are dinosaur feathers. In 2011, samples of amber were discovered containing preserved dinosaur feathers from the Cretaceous period, 75 to 80 million years ago. The feathers showed variations in coloration, patterns created by melanosomes, the organelles that produce pigment. By analyzing the shape of these melanosomes, which fossilize reliably, scientists have reconstructed the colors of extinct dinosaurs. Anchiornis was black and white, with a rufous crest. Microraptor was glossy black with iridescence, like a modern crow. These weren't drab brown monsters, they were vibrant, colorful animals. And that again suggests warm-bloodedness. Display coloration matters most when you can maintain activity levels. A cold-blooded animal that's torpid half the day has limited opportunities to show off. Bright colors are most useful for animals that are active, visible, and energetic throughout the day. Every line of evidence points the same direction. Theropod dinosaurs were not sluggish reptiles. They were active, warm-bodied predators with complex behaviors. And the birds on your windowsill are their living descendants. In May 2025, the Field Museum in Chicago revealed the most beautifully preserved Archaeopteryx fossil ever found. It had been in private hands since 1990, acquired from a Swiss collection. When the Field Museum obtained it in 2022, paleontologists spent 2 years meticulously preparing the specimen. And what they found rewrote our understanding of how flight evolved. "This is the best Archaeopteryx fossil ever found," said Jingmai O'Connor, the Field Museum's associate curator of fossil reptiles, "of what's arguably the most important fossil taxon of all time." The preservation is extraordinary. Not just bones, but soft tissues, impressions of muscles, the delicate bones of the skull, usually crushed or lost, the structure of the feet, scaled like a modern bird's, proving Archaeopteryx walked on the ground, not just perched in trees. But the discovery that changes everything is a set of feathers never before seen in this species. Tertials. In modern birds, tertial feathers are specialized inner secondary feathers on the upper arm. They cover the gap between the wing and the body. Without them, air flows through that gap during flight, and lift is lost. The Chicago Archaeopteryx is the first specimen to preserve these feathers. People hypothesized that the animal probably had tertials, O'Connor explained, but they hadn't been actually seen on any Archaeopteryx before. Modern flying birds all have tertials, but flightless feathered dinosaurs, like Anchiornis, didn't have them. This suggests that tertials were a key advance in the evolution of powered flight. And it suggests something even more interesting. If all flying birds descended from a single ancestor that had tertials, then all birds should retain tertials, even if they lost the ability to fly. Vestigial features persist. Whales have tiny hip bones, remnants of their land-dwelling ancestors. Flightless birds have wings, even though they can't use them. So if Archaeopteryx could fly, and it's the ancestor of all modern birds, then we'd expect to see tertials in its close relatives, other feathered dinosaurs from the Jurassic and Cretaceous. But we don't. Velociraptors had feathers. We know this from quill knobs on their forearm bones, attachment points for feathers. But they didn't have tertials. Neither did Microraptor, despite having long feathers on both arms and legs. Neither did Caudipteryx, Protarchaeopteryx, or Sinornithosaurus. The absence of tertials in all non-flying dinosaurs, O'Connor said, is one piece of evidence that supports the idea that flight evolved multiple times. Not once, but several times. Perhaps many times. Different lineages of feathered theropods, all descendants of that original insulation-covered ancestor, independently evolved the ability to generate lift, to glide, to fly. Some succeeded. Their descendants are the birds. Others failed, went extinct, left no living descendants. Flight is difficult. The physics are unforgiving. You need light bones, but strong muscles. Asymmetric feathers, but also precise control. A high metabolic rate to power wing beats. A sophisticated brain to coordinate rapid aerial maneuvers. But the rewards, access to food sources, escape from predators, new habitats, were so great that natural selection kept trying, kept favoring any mutation that brought an animal even slightly closer to controlled flight. And eventually, in one lineage, everything aligned. A small feathered theropod from the late Jurassic, about 150 million years ago, made the transition. Its descendants diversified, spread across the globe, survived the asteroid impact that killed all other dinosaurs, and gave us the 10,000 species of birds alive today. The answer, as science often discovers, is more complex than a simple yes or no. In 2014, a landmark study analyzed growth rates and metabolic rates across hundreds of living and extinct species. The conclusion? Dinosaurs occupied a unique physiological category: mesothermy. Not quite cold-blooded like modern reptiles, not quite as hot-blooded as modern birds and mammals. Somewhere in between. Mesotherms generate metabolic heat, more than reptiles, but they don't maintain constant high body temperatures the way mammals do. They're energy efficient, but still active. But this was an average across all dinosaurs. And all dinosaurs includes 100-ton sauropods, armored ankylosaurs, and tiny bird-like theropods. The evidence suggests that metabolism varied considerably. Large dinosaurs, sauropods, big theropods like Tyrannosaurus, could have been inertial homeotherms. Their sheer mass held heat. A 70-ton Argentinosaurus would take weeks to cool down, even without generating metabolic heat. These giants may have actually been closer to ectotherms, just really, really big ones. But small, active theropods show different evidence. Their bones have haversian canals, suggesting rapid growth. Their skeletal proportions indicate sustained running ability. Their brain-to-body ratios approach bird levels, and brains are metabolically expensive. And they had feathers, insulation. The theropod lineage leading to birds, coelurosaurs, maniraptorans, paravians, was almost certainly endothermic. High metabolic rates, warm blood,
active lifestyles. Not cold-blooded reptiles with feathers stuck on, genuinely warm-bodied predators. This made them successful. In a world dominated by giants, these small feathered dinosaurs could exploit ecological niches others couldn't touch. Hunt at dawn when temperatures were low, pursue prey with stamina cold-blooded predators lacked, care for eggs with body heat. And when the asteroid struck 66 million years ago and the world turned dark and cold, those metabolic advantages meant survival.
"66 million years ago, an asteroid 10 kilometers wide struck what is now the Yucatan Peninsula. The impact released energy equivalent to 10 billion Hiroshima bombs. Mega tsunamis swept across shallow seas. Wildfires ignited across continents. A plume of vaporized rock blasted into the stratosphere, circled the globe, and rained back down as glass beads, heating the atmosphere to oven temperatures. Then came the darkness. Soot from the fires and pulverized rock from the impact created a winter that lasted years. Photosynthesis stopped. Plants died. Herbivores starved. Predators followed. Within months, 75% of all species on Earth went extinct. Every non-avian dinosaur died. Tyrannosaurus, Triceratops, the hadrosaurs, the giant sauropods, all gone. A dynasty that had ruled for 165 million years ended in months. But not all dinosaurs died. The avian dinosaurs, birds, survived. Not all of them. Most bird species went extinct too, but a few lineages made it through the bottleneck. Why? Size mattered. Small animals need less food. They can survive on seeds, insects, carrion. Large animals need vast quantities of fresh vegetation. When the plants died, they had nothing. But there's another factor, one that's often overlooked. Metabolic efficiency. Birds are endothermic. They generate heat metabolically, but they're also incredibly efficient. A bird can lower its metabolic rate during periods of scarcity, entering torpor to conserve energy. Yet they can ramp up instantly when food is available. This metabolic flexibility, inherited from their theropod ancestors, may have made the difference between extinction and survival. The dinosaurs didn't go extinct. One lineage adapted, evolved, and today rules the skies as their ancestors once ruled the land. Every sparrow, every eagle, every penguin is a living theropod dinosaur. The line was never broken. Today, 14 Archaeopteryx fossils have been found. Each one teaches us something new. In 2025, the 13th specimen was described, from the Mearnsheim Formation, preserving shoulder and forelimb details. In January of the same year, a 14th was announced at the Field Museum in Chicago. And researchers are discovering new feathered dinosaurs every year. In 2024, scientists described zoned development in Psittacosaurus skin, areas with reptile-like scales, adjacent areas with bird-like feathered skin. The evolutionary transition from one to the other, frozen in stone. They've found brooding behaviors, oviraptorids sitting on nests like modern birds, warming eggs with body heat. They've discovered that Microraptor had asymmetric hind limb feathers, suggesting it could glide using all four limbs, a body plan that no modern animal possesses. They've identified probable evidence of a bill tip organ in Archaeopteryx, sensory structures that help birds detect prey. Every new specimen, Every new technique fills in more details. And the picture that emerges is one of extraordinary diversity. Feathered dinosaurs weren't one thing. They were a vast radiation of species, experimenting with different body plans, different ecological niches, different approaches to survival. Some had simple filaments. Others had elaborate plumes. Some used feathers for warmth, others for display. Still others for gliding, then flying. But all of them, every single feathered theropod, was our connection to modern birds. Links in an unbroken evolutionary chain stretching from the Jurassic to today. When Darwin closed on the origin of species, he wrote words that have echoed through biology ever since. There is grandeur in this view of life. From so simple a beginning, endless forms, most beautiful and most wonderful, have been and are being evolved. The dinosaur-bird transition is that grandeur made visible. From Coelophysis, a Triassic theropod with no feathers at all, to Sinosauropteryx with its fuzzy down, to Caudipteryx with its display plumes, to Microraptor with its four-winged body plan, to Archaeopteryx with its flight-capable wings, to modern birds in all their 10,000 species diversity. Each step small, each change gradual. No jumps, no leaps, just continuous modification, generation after generation, for 150 million years. Today, birds are the most diverse group of land vertebrates. They've evolved powered flight, flightlessness, diving, hovering, soaring. They've colonized every habitat from the Arctic to Antarctica. They navigate by Earth's magnetic field, see ultraviolet light, and possess cognitive abilities that rival primates. And they accomplished all of this because 230 million years ago, some theropod dinosaurs started growing simple filaments for warmth. The line from dinosaur to bird isn't thin. It doesn't exist. Because birds are dinosaurs. Always have been, always will be. The next time you see a bird, look carefully. Watch how it folds its arms against its body, the same way Velociraptor folded its feathered forearms. See the scales on its feet, identical in structure to the scales that covered dinosaur legs. Notice its wishbone, the fused clavicles that first appeared in theropod dinosaurs 150 million years before the first bird. When it tears at food with its beak, you're watching a predator whose ancestors used teeth to do the same thing. When it preens its feathers, it's maintaining insulation that first evolved in flightless dinosaurs. In 1861, when those limestone workers in Bavaria found Archaeopteryx, they had no idea what they were discovering. A single fossil that would bridge two worlds, that would prove Darwin right, that would show us the path from Earth to sky. But we understand now that there was no bridge, no gap to cross. The terrifying predators of the Mesozoic never vanished. They adapted, they shrank, they took to the air. And now they sing on your windowsill, 10,000 species strong, more diverse than they were in the age of dinosaurs, more successful than ever. Not survivors of mass extinction, victors. The line between dinosaur and bird was never erased, because it was never there to begin with.
This is Cosmic Canvas.
where we reveal the empires that never fell. Until next time, listen carefully. The dinosaurs haven't vanished. They're singing in the trees.